Now then, after 2 consecutive sprint race weekends, we return to normality. Finally, just a nice, normal race format weekend, and we're here at Mexico, which should be interesting. Now, before we jump into the weekend's action, if you haven't seen those sprint races that I mentioned, guys, I'll leave them linked in the top right. Texas was the last race, link in the top right, and that will also feed to the one before that in Qatar, which was my first time racing there. But go check those out if you haven't seen them. The response has been pretty decent on those episodes, so a big thank you for that. But anyway, we're going to jump into this weekend's action. So, as you can see, we're going to do upgrades, and we're going to do DRS maximum slot gap, because we need to try and improve our overtaking efficiency, and I feel like my DRS isn't strong enough. Also, heave dampers to improve tyre wear, as that's something we've struggled with, especially in Qatar. We really had issues with tyre wear there, so we're going to get those on the car. And then also, we're now going to turn our focus to Mexico, because we have a bit of breaking news regarding the regulation change for season number 2. So let's have a look.
Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
Now, as you can see, the powertrain is the affected department. Only one. I thought maybe durability might have been affected, but it turns out it's only powertrain. So yeah, we'll try and hopefully cover the 14 upgrades we have so far in the next few races. That is our strongest and most complete department besides durability. So we've got quite a lot of upgrades there. We are the best team in the engine side of things. So that's a bit of a hit, but we'll try and fix it and do the best we can. We have rain forecast for the race, which also could spice things up quite a bit. This weekend, not a lot of teams bringing upgrades. It's a short turnaround from the last one in Texas, but we have upgrades on the way, as we saw before, and I'm sure other teams do as well. But we'll see how that changes now with the change of approach, with the reg change being confirmed for next season. Either way, we're going to jump into now the weekend's action, guys, and we're going to start off with practice, which of course is always important. So yeah, we're currently, as always, in the race strategy program, trying to get a baseline, and I'm not going to lie, the car felt horrible, absolutely horrible. I could not get a good balance, and what I've done so far this season is use preset setups, and I still am right now. Normally, I just use the preset that the game recommends for you and then basically modify, but this was the first track where I used the game's modified preset, which is basically recommended to use increased top speed, which was a surprise to me, considering Sector 2 and Sector 3, but the game by default loads up preset 4, which is increased top speed, and it felt horrific. So I'm going to make an adjustment for qualifying based off practice and take a bit of a chance, and we're going to go for balanced, which is a bit more downforce, a bit less straight line speed, and we'll make a bit of a wing adjustment to try and give myself a bit more balance in certain areas. But yeah, I was a bit surprised, a bit taken back that the setup felt so bad, and that was the default recommended one for this track. Hopefully, my changes will fix this, because if not, it could be a long weekend for us, and yeah, we could be in a bit of trouble. So yeah, let's get to qualifying. And let's get into the real kind of, meat, potatoes and gravy of this one, and let's see if we can try and get things underway. So, currently on a timed lap. I made a few errors. It was a bit of a scruffy one, and that mistake, they're also confirming it, as we got off to a bit of a cautious start in qualifying. I didn't really feel fully dialed in, but P8, that was already a good start. I was a bit worried about, seeing my name.
They're in third. Okay, so their best lap time is a 1:16.0.
I was already a bit worried about seeing my name, flash up in last place, but that wasn't the case, and we're somewhat in the mix. I then went for a second push lap, and I wasn't improving. As you can see, we're pretty much neck and neck. As in now Sector 3, we'll just start to edge forward on the lap time. As this is where the bulk of the mistakes were, as you saw in the last one. And you can see here we're just finding a lap time, basically just cleaning up the lap. Not really going fast, but just keeping it nice and clean and getting a nice bit of consistency. And out the final corner, we're going to set a 1:16.2, purple in Sector 3, and that is a lot more encouraging. That's a bit more, self-assuring, knowing that we do have some pace. You can see we're 7/10 off P1, and the gap to safety right now is about 6/10. So I'm going to take a chance here and stay in the garage, which shows a real turnaround in form based off practice and then to qualifying, and the setup adjustments working very well. And you can see here we're comfortably into Q2, whereas in practice I finished dead last. So yeah, really happy. Car feels better, and it seems to be the case that we're not exactly sacrificing anything. So even though we put more wing on, we're not actually slow in the straights. We're still competitive, so that's an encouraging sign straight off the bat. So here we go, Q2 then, fresh set of tyres, and we have a 16.2 benchmark to aim for from Q1 as a reference here for this first run in Q2. So let's see as we make our way through the stadium section, trying to get the lap done here. A little bit of oversteer there just between apexes, but for the most part we keep it under control. Up to the line, and our banker's a 16.0, so that's a very good banker, P4, and our best lap of the weekend so far. And I was actually really happy with that lap. I, at the time, didn't feel like there was a lot more pace in it, and I would struggle to beat it. You can see we're safe, but only a couple of tenths, so we're going to have to go out again. Now what I've done is I've gone out late, very late, last car to start a lap. You can see on the minimap everyone is finishing their time lap right now. So basically the idea here is I'll do this lap and I'll complete it if I need it. So we'll keep an eye on timing tower in the top left, and we'll see what position we're in a few moments time and if we need this lap or not. For now though, tackling turns 1, 2 and 3, we're not exactly flying. As the checkered flag drops, so is our position, and we're starting to drop a little bit here, so this could be an issue as we're losing time and we're not exactly improving. Making our way into the slow section then, and you can see now we're starting to claw back some of that time, but I'm not making that much headway, just very fine differences, fine margins. Currently P10, but if you look at the minimap, everyone has crossed the line. So it was right now at this moment that I realised we were safe, so I backed off and turned the car down. We'll save these tyres and run these in the first run in Q3, and as you can see, we got through by 3/4 of a tenth, and Lando joins us in Q3. So we both make it. Seems like this track isn't the best suit for our cars. We're a little bit off the pace, both of us, compared to the front runners. But from my side, I'm happy that we've recovered really well compared to practice, and we're right on the pace now. So yeah, let's jump into Q3. So as mentioned, I went back out on that exact same tyre because it was only up 2% worn. It was pretty much fresh. And yeah, we had a good lap up until this point where I just went in a bit too early into that right-hander, hit the inside sausage curb, bumped over the curb and invalidated, which was a real shame. So yeah, we went on to finish the lap anyways. I wanted to give myself a reference, a delta time to aim for, and we've done a 16.4, albeit I backed off in the last sector considerably. We've got something to aim for, at least for the first 2 sectors, which is what we're looking for here. So yeah, last lap of qualifying, and we've got pretty much one more chance, one and done, nothing else left to do here. So Lando stayed in the garage, had an issue I think, so he hasn't gone out for a final run, which is quite weird. So maybe Lando had a bit more pace but couldn't show it. We're going to try and send it though on our last lap in qualifying and see if we can get something out of this. So 16.0 PB, that's the target. Let's see what we can do. Turn 1, brake just after the 100, down a 3rd gear, and sacrifice the first one a little bit to open turn 2, which then opens turn 3. So it's kind of a domino effect. You sacrifice the first and the other 2 kind of gradually open up, and that gives you a better exit as we head down to turn 4. Brake at the 100, down a 3rd gear, and then try to stay tight. I run a little bit deep, but that's okay. Keep it tight for turn number 5, and now into turn 6 and 7, which is just one kind of sweeping hairpin motion. Good exit there as we find a bit of time, and now into the S section. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just trying to hook this section up. You can't really bang over the curbs this year like last year, so you have to be a bit more within track limits, and that is also part of the challenge this year with Mexico. But still, good job through there. And in terms of sector times, we're a tenth down on Verstappen. Sector 3, this time not bumping over the curb and finding loads of time, making our way into the hairpin. 2nd gear, a little bit too early there in turning, so I had to take a bit too much inside curve. Keeping it nice and tidy though through the final couple of corners, and now on the run to the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute 15.6. Wow, what a lap. So P9, a shame it didn't really amount to much more than that, but that's the best I could do. Really good lap, really solid lap. Bit of time loss. Maybe in sector 1, I felt like I could have done a bit better with the first 3 corners, but other than that, really good lap, really happy with it. No big errors, and yeah, we PB when it matters, which is all you can ask for really, especially on a weekend when I've been struggling for pace and haven't really been able to put it all together so far. So yeah, for us it's P9, P10, Lando not getting a final run in, and then as for the Aston Martins, Alonso P5 and Stroll P8. So they're in the mix this weekend, and it could be a close fight. Russell on pole, and there's your lot for qualifying. Let's get to the race and let's see what happens in the main event.
Bienvenidos to the most populous city in North America. The legendary Jim Clark won the first official F1 race back in 1963 here, and we've had a veritable who's who of winners ever since. It's Mexico City, and therefore the Mexico City Grand Prix. At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners then make a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking into the braking zones of Turn 1 and Turn 4. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And it's Fernando Alonso alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz, Stroll, Perez, Martinez, Norris, Bottas, Magnussen, Gasly, Tsunoda, Leclerc, Zhou, Ocon, Albon, Hulkenberg, Sargent, and Nick de Vries. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson, a lot of talented drivers out on the track today, but what will stand out for you?
My focus is 100% on the front of the grid. Like you said, we're seeing a lot of strong competition across those positions, so it would be super interesting to see the fight for that front spot. Personally speaking, I'm hoping for plenty of overtakes.
Here we go then, time for the race at Mexico, starting from 8th place, which isn't too bad to be fair. We're currently in the points. Alonso is just in front of us, and Stroll is of course behind us. That is the main thing we're looking at here in the battle versus Aston Martin. So yeah, should be a fun race. I think I'm still not fully happy with the car balance. I can't quite feel comfortable around here for some reason, but maybe I'll learn something in the race. Maybe the car will feel better in the race. Either way, strategy for this one is actually interesting. So rain forecast at the end. A part of me is tempted to possibly start on the hard tyre and basically just drive it until the rain arrives. But then again, we may come unstuck, so I don't know where I stand. Our pace isn't brilliant, so we would struggle quite badly on the hard tyre. So I think I'm going to go for the medium, and if we get a rain message, I might either try and stretch it, or if I'm struggling, go for a soft tyre and basically go for a short sprint. So yeah, I think this is the better option. Fuel-wise, I'm going to go for 0.5 extra. I think that should be okay. Rain at the end should also help bail us out if we do get in trouble. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. Leave a prediction down below as always. What do you think we can do and finish here today? Can we try maybe get a top 5, maybe even a podium? And yeah, let's get into it and let's see if we can try and score some more valuable points. So small correction, little mistake on my end. Stroll and Alonso are ahead of us. Stroll P6, Alonso I believe is P2. So this race just changed a bit. Here we go. Lights are on. I can see signs on a hard tyre, so we might struggle off the line. Oh, Stroll with a terrible start. We get the jump straight away. Perez boxed in as we try to get ahead of him. Alonso up into the lead, by the way. This is terrible for us for the championship. Into turn 1. 3 wide. Got to be careful here. Got Magnussen on softs trying to get a strong start. Hamilton, Perez side by side. Nowhere to go right now. Verstappen retakes the lead from what I can tell up front. As we head down to now the slow section, we're going to try and fight back. But Hamilton up the inside of Checo as I tried to go around the outside there, but had to bail out. Stroll on my outside right now looking for a way through. We'll hold on and lock in P7. I think Lando will have decent pace. He didn't get a lap in qualifying in his final run, so something happened to him, but he had more pace to find. So I think we've both got relatively decent pace. I think his is better than mine. Here goes Stroll down the inside. Gonna have to fight this one. Gonna take a nice wide line to give him plenty of space, but we're gonna fight, and we managed to come out on top and stay in front for now. Key phase now in the championship. Every position, every point matters. Verstappen though your leader after 1 lap. Alonso close behind. Let's see if we have pace to keep up with this top 6. Right now it seems like we're lacking straight line speed though. Pretty badly. Eventually at a VMAX we seem to match up, but we need the whole straight to match up, so that's a bit of a concern.
Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Trying to stay within range here. Hopefully we'll get it on the next straight, as Hamilton now putting the pressure on Sainz, who maybe isn't as fast on that hard tyre. This is going to bring us into plate. No DRS, but we'll just sit in the slipstream, stay behind. See if I can charge the battery a bit. We've used so much of it. Checo leaving the outside wide open, so I'm going to try to break the door down and charge in. I'm going for another free place, although we may lose that one straight away.
So we're expecting rain in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, that's earlier than I expected, so that's good news. Sainz trying to go back through on Lewis with DRS help. This is good, it keeps us in play and we're not having to push too much, and it's also hiding maybe our lack of our pace a bit. Hamilton no DRS, Sainz through. Not looking to battle too heavily right now. Fuel consumption's quite high. I've realised already after 4 laps we've used up 0.10, so we need that rain to help us manage fuel, and I'm also going to try and manage it a little bit while we're in this little train. Hamilton on Sainz, and he goes through again. This is fine, there's not really a lot of time loss. The front 3 are also battling. Alonso is currently leading the race, but it's a 3-car scrap. You never know, they might start to lose time between them, but right now the gap is pretty large and it isn't really coming down. Hamilton Sainz again. This is fine, I'm able to manage fuel and save a bit, although this is a pretty heavy battle. Now they're losing a bit of time. Hamilton doesn't have DRS here, so we're going to try to get through. Sainz defends the inside, I've got nowhere to go, boxed in. Checo to the outside. Sainz runs it in a bit deep, but we're going to go around the outside anyway. I don't really want to be leading this pack of cars, we're not fast enough. But we get another place, we jump Hamilton. Alonso still leads us. The clouds are just starting to form a little bit now.
The rain's a few lap outs yet, but it is coming, so be careful.
Right, there's confirmation. So the rain is inbound soon. So we should just go straight onto the inters. Oh wow, Sainz pits. That's a genuine surprise. Although not for the first time, that's happened before. I'm going to let Checo go here. Hamilton around a second away, but we'll just stick behind Checo. This is fine, don't mind this. Now it's getting properly dark, but I don't understand that call. For reason that before, Sainz has often started on a harder compound and pit very early. Bonotto strikes again. I feel like I'm starting to struggle on tyres a bit more than the AI at this stage. Perez is pretty strong, I'm keeping up just about, but he's got much better pace than me. DRS is keeping me in the fight, which is exactly why I'm following people around here. I don't actually have this pace, but as long as we're following someone, we're in with a shout. Hopefully, a bit like Kota, the rain might actually be a blessing for us, and it might actually give us better performance and more pace. Speaking of which, here is the rain. It started to fall.
So this rain could be with us for a while. Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Right, so timing onto inters will be key. A lot of cars behind, so a mistake will be pretty heavily punished. Battle for P2, which is bad news because Alonso's getting away. Russell, Verstappen battling quite hard now and losing a lot of time. Oh, yellow flag. Is that DNF or maybe a mistake in the conditions? Looks like a
Green flag.
possible mistake. Can't quite tell who it is, but Lando's gone through, so that's good. I think it might be Alpha Tara's just going to say Sonoda's out. Okay, so mechanical issue. I feel like I've got a bit more pace than Checo at this phase. I might see if I can pass him. This rain's taking a while to fall. Well, let's see if we can get Checo here. We've got a full charge.
In this lap, push now.
Hamilton pits. I wonder if that's for another dry tyre or an inter. Lando pits.
Lando's in the pits. Lando in the pits.
We'll see if we get some clarity on tyre compound selection. I want to try and push. We'll probably pit this up for inters, to be fair.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 28.8 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. They're in 15th.
So the AI are stopping for another set of dries. They're committing to the original strategy. We're going to drag this out to inters, of course. We're not going to box. So every AI car that pits right now is pitting for another set of dries and essentially throwing their race away. Checo might get close here, but I've got enough battery to hold on for one more lap. I'll go for one more. Still feel like the dryers are okay. They're holding up. Although it's very close to the crossover. Crucially, Alonso and Russell staying out. Especially Alonso, that's the one we don't want. But I think this could be the lap. 7 seconds off the PB. Right, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to box for inches on this lap. I think it's worth it.
Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
I'm going to go for it now. Feel like it's getting pretty treacherous and pretty on the limit. And if this does work out, this might give us a golden ticket to win the race. Let's see if it works out. Intermediates ready. Another great stop, 2.2, the boys never miss. And we'll see if we can hold up with this tyre, pace-wise. Hopefully we don't burn it up. Looks like we're going to rejoin in P8 on an Inter. Could be close to Ocon.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
Looks like we'll be just ahead of him. So let's see. This would be a fair comparison to see if the Inter can work or not. Turn 1 feels pretty nice. Track's already getting that kind of shiny effect. So I think we've timed this perfectly enough. It's definitely Inter's. The AI is staying out though. This is huge. Okay, so we don't have to push like crazy. We're naturally going to catch them just by driving. We don't want to take too much out of the tyres. But it's intermediates right now. For some reason, DRS is still enabled and no one's stopping. But we've timed this beautifully. Look at the gap to Ocon. It was 1.7 when we left the pits. We're flying. This is way quicker.
So this rain could be with us for a while. Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future. We're not certain which is the best tyre right now, dries or Inters.
Now the AI are pitting. They're pulling the trigger. Right, let's see. Have we done enough? I've not been pushing like mad. I'm not trying to take too much out of the tyres already. Tyre was actually pretty high on the Inters. But if my math is correct, we should take the net race lead. Look for Alonso. And there we go. Net P1 now if everyone stops for Inters. It's about 5% per lap, so it's pretty high tyre wear. So we'll have to manage a little bit. But we've got the gap. And right now, we're on to win this race. Now the big question is, do we have genuine wet weather pace?
Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled.
There we go. Finally. So Verstappen and Sainz, who are battling right now, should pit this lap. And that will put everyone onto the Inters. Lando should be in this lap as well. All the remaining cars will pretty much box now. So Lando's ruined his race entirely. Could have fixed it with a quick Inter stop, but chose against it. Right, this is it. 13 laps to go. We're leading the race. Alonso 2.4 adrift. I don't have a lot of pace in the wet right now, so I have adjusted the brake bias to the rear. Also reduced the diff. We'll see if those adjustments help us a little bit in terms of the conditions. I'm pretty confident we've got this under control, even though we're not that fast. We've got decent straight line speed with battery, and also there's no DRS now, so Alonso, who isn't that quick on the straight, is going to have a hard time trying to pass me. Just got to make no mistakes. Time to make our car nice and wide. One more time. Alonso's going for it. Here he comes. We'll force him wide. He outbrakes me. But we've got it under control for now. We are very slow in the corners. I should have gone a bit more wing in the pit stop compared to Alonso. But for now we can hang on. This is not an issue.
No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
Stroll's out. That's good news for the championship. Stroll's running in the points, in the low end of the points, but points regardless. And I think that moves Lando into the top 10. Got to be careful now. Got a warning there for corner cutting. Be careful, mistake. Alonso on the outside. That's the downside of running the brake bias in 57. If you go on the brakes too hard, you can lock up. But it feels better than 58 in the wet. Quicker. Just got to try and be careful for those rear lock-ups. We survived the scare though. I've found a way to go faster around here using certain other curbs, and that's what you learn over time. Over doing loads of laps, you know which curbs you can trust which ones you want to avoid, and also gears and where I know that they are strong and where I'm weaker, so I can basically figure out how to attack. We've got this under control. Here we go, last lap. Alonso nowhere near. A little bit of tyre wear kicking in as we get the tyre icon pop up. I mean, 60% tyre wear, but still beautifully managed. Great race, great strategy. Wet weather pace was better than in the dry, similar to Kota, and we make it count as we're going to come through the final corner to pick up win number 3 of our debut season. It's the three-peat, and it's a massive win in both championships.
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
The thin air makes this event a brutal one for these Formula One cars, but this team have done a fantastic job to make it to the checkered flag and take a well-earned victory today. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Guys, there we have it. What a race, what a performance, what a victory. I did not have that on my postcard, and that is a very good, very much welcome surprise as we score maximum points in Mexico, 25, with Alonso in second, 18. Crucially, we managed to avoid disaster. At one point in that first stint, I was really worried about Alonso winning and myself and Lando struggling in terms of points, but what a turnaround. And just when Aston Martin and Alonso pull something out the bag, we pull something out even bigger. What a performance, what a result. Russell on the podium, he holds off Checo at the end and Verstappen as well. Sainz takes home the fastest lap, Leclerc P7, Hamilton P8, and Lando scores a couple of points in P9, so no position change for him, albeit with an extra stop for another set of dries, so a decent recovery with that considered in mind. Ocon P10, rounding out the points, and confirmation at the bottom. Tsunoda out and Stroll out as well when he was running the points, which is big for the championship. So, driver standings, we're only 18 points behind Carlos Sainz, which is incredible considering the season. But we are, hitting some good form. We've had some decent results. Qatar could have been quite a few more points, but I'm not complaining. We've now got a 13-point lead over Alonso. Lando's pretty much out of the running now, I'd say, unless he were to get another podium. I mean, he got a podium last race, but if you got another one and myself and Alonso didn't score any points, that would be a big response. For Lando, Leclerc still leading the way by 11 points. Hamilton and Russell still in contention. They're keeping themselves in there. Russell, of course, with that podium, that gives him a shout. Constructors, Mercedes still lead the way. Ferrari struggling now as Sainz is not scoring enough points, and Red Bull still in the hunt. As for us, P4, and the gap to Aston Martin now is 64 points. So I reckon that result today might have just got us over the line. And to be fair, the last two races have been devastating in the battle versus Aston Martin. We dealt a couple of hammer blows, and I think that could be P4 and the constructors wrapped up. But I don't want to speak too soon. There's still a couple of races left to go, so you never know what could happen. Either way, guys, cheers for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for more daily F1 content. And yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, a big shout out to the members. Check out the 2 videos on screen. And yeah, what a race, what performance, guys. We'll see you next time in Brazil.